what we found with SARS-CoV-2, and this is where I want people to feel empowered, right? Because we have some knowledge that we can take with us and not just say, oh, now I know a little bit more about SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19, but yes, I know a little bit more. And here are the practical actionable items I can take, right? The steps I can take to keep me and my family a little bit more protected. So we know that SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus that's circulating right now, attaches to a protein on certain cell membranes called ACE2. So it's attached to cell membranes, and the coronavirus comes along, attaches to that protein, and then is allowed to enter into our cells and multiply. Now, initially, when this mechanism was elucidated, there was a lot of speculation that, we don't want to increase ACE2, at all. And many people might have heard of ACE2 by now in the news. And there was concerns that, vitamin D might increase ACE2, or, certain medications might increase ACE2, like diabetes medications or heart blood pressure medications. Well, what we're finding now is that ACE2, it's kind of it's not so simple. There's ACE2 proteins that are attached to cells. We don't want more of that, right? We don't want more entry points for the SARS-CoV-2 virus into our cells. But we also have a lot of circulating ACE2 in our blood, right? And kids tend to have more ACE2 in their blood, which is why some people think maybe kids have milder outcomes, because this circulating ACE2 in our blood is protective for heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, and interestingly, some research now is finding that adults who have heart disease and kidney disease and are on these ACE2 blockers seem to be doing better than those patients who have those same diseases but are not on ACE2 blockers. Why? Because ACE2 blockers create more circulating ACE2. So ACE2 in your bloodstream, they're finding, can act as a decoy, confuse SARS-CoV-2, so it attaches to the free-floating ACE2, not to the ACE2 on your cell membranes, right? So how do we then increase serum ACE2? Right, that I think is one of the keys. So that even if you get exposed to the coronavirus and it enters into your body, into your bloodstream, if that virus can then attach to the circulating serum ACE2, get disposed of before it enters your cells, we're going to be able to decrease the amount of virus that you get sick with, right? And so the ways that we can do that, there are some great lifestyle ways. Yes, there's a medication, but most people aren't going to have access to that medication. It's experimental. But one of the number one things, aerobic exercise, right? So this is where, not staying at home, right? Yes. Really getting out, getting fresh air, moving your body, do it with your family, go for bike rides. Yes, maintain that physical distancing, but get out there and, get your heart rate going. What was interesting, there was a study looking at what kind of exercise. And they actually found that, whether you did high intensity interval training or you did moderate intensity, consistent exercise, it was about the same, right? So you don't have to overdo it. And in fact, I don't want people overdoing it and really exerting themselves too much. We're not, you're not training for an Ironman right now, because overdoing it can increase inflammation, right? But, daily exercise. What else can increase ACE2? Sleep. Right? Melatonin, our sleep hormone, so protective. So making sure, and that's another theory on why children seem to have better outcomes, is because children seem to have higher melatonin levels than adults. And then the number one vitamin, the number one that I recommend for everyone during the cold and flu season, but especially right now during COVID-19, is vitamin D. Vitamin D can increase our serum ACE levels. Vitamin D also can support our immune system if we get sick and reduce our risk of getting sepsis, right, and landing in the ICU. And there are two new studies that came out showing that when they looked at patients who were hospitalized and they measured their vitamin D levels, patients who had normal vitamin D levels had much better outcomes than patients who had low vitamin D levels. For us, right, you're in Arizona, I'm in California, the days are getting longer, the sun's getting stronger and warmer. We can get vitamin D through our skin, through skin conversion, just by being out and about, during the midday. But unfortunately, most people at least the kids that I measure, and adult doctors are finding this too, most kids and adults, even in the middle of the summer, don't have optimal vitamin D levels. So very often, I'm recommending that people take extra vitamin D.